What's up, everybody? Today we are going to talk about how to tease the tension to really grab your audience's attention. Whew! This is an amazing skill that is so difficult to master, and we're going to talk about a few different ways to tease the tension today. Each one gets more difficult to master as you go through. So we're going to talk about tension. I'm going to draw a list, I'm going to draw a picture, and you're going to get something really, really practical out of this so that you can go and become a really great presenter, great storyteller, because you're not just going to tell a story, but you're actually going to tease the tension to bring your audience along with you, all right? So let's go with this. Here's 3 ways that you can tease the tension with your audience and why they are important. Now, as you'll see here, I've got some numbers and I've got a CO2 container. That's exactly what that is. You know that. You can see that by looking at the beautiful picture that I've drawn. Well, these both right away are ways to tease the tension. As soon as you see this, you know that we're going to talk about 3 things today. And then you see this and you're kind of thinking, I wonder why that's on the board. That's either a mistake, something that he left up from playing Pictionary earlier, or it's there for a purpose. Both of those are ways that immediately I can get your attention and make you wonder, where are we going to go today? And here's the point. Here's why those matter. As soon as you see that I know where it's going, as soon as you think to yourself, wow, he has an idea that I don't know about, it's actually built trust between us. I know it's weird because you might think, no, that's building sort of questioning, that's making me insecure and uncomfortable. But actually what it's doing is making you see, I know where we're going. And if I know where we're going, then you're in good hands. That's the value of tension. That's what something like this can do, and these easy, simple tricks can really help you create a tighter bond with your audience and bring them on a really great ride. So let's talk about the first way to tease the tension. This one's probably the easiest. This is the list. I mean, the way that you create tension with an audience, you just build this idea that, oh, there's something else to come, there's something that I'm waiting for, is just by saying a list. I mean, you can say this like, I've got 7 things to tell you today. Let's start with number 1. Well, now, I know that there's some tension there. There's something because I don't know how long it's going to take to get to 7. I know that there are 7 things, but I want to know where it is. Now, that's the simplest way, and it's actually not very good tension. What I want to talk about is more like standing in front of a crowd and saying, today we're going to talk about pizza and shoelaces and quarterly reports and accounting and leaving your wife, and it's all starting here with what you do when you come into the office on Tuesday. Now, on Tuesday mornings, you probably walk in and you start your talk from there. You see, from that list, talking about pizza and leaving your wife and all those things, now, just by saying those things, the audience is going, what? How are we possibly going to talk about all that stuff when I'm here to learn about insurance? Well, me as a speaker, I've actually done great work ahead of time, and I've worked on all these things, and I know that I'm going to pull from all those stories to talk about this one main idea. But you as an audience member are now going, really? We're going to talk about all those things? Okay. And it produces something going on in your brain where you go, how are we possibly going to get there? That kind of tension is so meaningful, so purposeful, such a good way to hook your audience in at the beginning, and something that you can then easily pay off as you go. And you're just telling the stories that are already in your outline. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to draw attention to it when you do it. You don't need to talk about pizza and then be like, see, I told you at the beginning we were going to talk about pizza. You just go through it and your audience will be satisfied as they go. Number 2, ways that you create tension, you tease tension with your audience is by telling the end of the story. Or even holding a visual on stage with you. If you come out and you place, if I was on stage, I could place a CO2 container on stage next to me. Immediately, the audience is going, what is going on there? It's like I'm saying the end of the story right at the beginning. I'm just putting it there. I'm just saying this is going to be important at some point, but you don't know when and you don't know how, but it is important. That's like this visual right here. Now, we're not going to talk about how it's important yet. We'll get there. but it's also like doing the end of the story. This is something that a lot of superhero movies do really well. They start out by showing you, the hero in peril, in trouble, and then somehow they break out of it, or somehow it's their last dying moment and it looks like it's completely helpless, and then hard cut, it shows them waking up in bed the morning 3 months earlier. And then you now as an audience are wondering, how are we possibly going to get from this comfortable part of the story to that super dangerous part of the story? And then when it happens, you find relief from that tension, but now there's more tension beyond that. That's how you tell the end of the story. This could be like you walking in and saying, when I finally got to that door, the door that I've been waiting to open all my life, it was locked. Now, I'm going to tell you how I got to that door in just a few minutes. But first I want to tell you about this pizza and these other things. You see, so just by telling you the end of that story, the door was locked, now you're wondering, how am I going to get to that part in the story if I start at the beginning? Earning the promotion, getting to that place, and finally showing up to my office with my name on it, and the door was locked because I had the wrong key. And that can lead to a great moment. See, I tell you the end of a story, or even the middle of a story, but it's ahead, it's not just in the beginning, and now it's teasing tension, and making you say, how are we going to get there? That's what you want from your audience. And finally, the hardest way to tease the tension is by releasing the valve, or tightening the valve. Release and tighten the valve. You see, when you present a problem, it tightens the valve a little bit. So if I showed up and I said, I know the thing with speakers is that you have a lot of trouble teasing tension when you're on stage or you're in front of a camera. Problem. Now here's where that goes with a speaker, because if you are not good at that, then your audience is going to be constantly jumping from one thing to the next, not knowing how long this is going to be, or even if you're in good hands, tighten that valve. If you lose that trust with an audience, they might tap out right at the very beginning and you have to now earn that trust all the way through. Tighten the valve. If they don't trust you, they're never going to listen to you. They're never going to remember you. Tighten the valve. And that's the end of it. But what we can do today is learn about the importance and some practical tips to tease the tension so that your audience will never forget you. Shh. Releases the valve. See, as I present a problem and I go more and more into that, it tightens the valve. Steve Jobs was amazing at this with his Apple release speeches. He would tighten the valve and then release it. Present a problem that we're facing and then release it with a solution that he's found. Present a problem that the world is facing and release it with the iPod. You see, he would constantly tighten the valve and release it. And what that's doing for the audience is building tension. Yeah, this is a problem. How are we ever going to break free from this? Wow, he's got a solution. Released. You see, that one, if you can master that, you're going to be one of the best speakers that's ever walked this earth. My friends, these are ways to tease the tension with your audience, to make sure that they respect you, they trust you, and they go along for the ride with you and are completely engaged all along the way. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you go out there and now practice these things to tease the tension with whatever audience you are working with. And also, I hope you like my drawing of that CO2 container. Talk to you again soon.